So the Scarlet and Violet base set released just a few days ago, and it's a pretty awesome set to say the least. But more than just the cool cards in here, there's actually a lot of deep meaning behind this set. Much like the 9th generation games, the Scarlet and Violet base set actually represents a lot of big changes for the Pokemon TCG, while also being a love letter to people that have loved the series since the beginning. So today, as I open up these 3 booster boxes of the Scarlet and Violet base set, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a history lesson on the Pokemon TCG and why this set is so significant. Over 24 years ago, base set was released, and it was definitely one of the major contributing factors of Pokemon becoming a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, what kid didn't want to try to get their hands on that holo Charizard? However, at the time, getting any holographic card was really special. That was until the EX series sets came out in the 3rd generation. Now, of course, there were Shining Pokemon and Crystal Pokemon in Generation 2's Neo Revelation, Neo Destiny, Aquapolis, and Skyridge, but the EX series actually offered a card type that could compete with holos in terms of pull rates, with each being 1 in every 6 packs. And they were truly special cards. While still needing to evolve the Pokemon, they were generally more powerful than their regular counterparts at the cost of giving up 2 prize cards instead of 1. Now, in my opinion, they were so much better looking than the regular cards, having a silver holographic border to them, and just the artwork in general looked really, really nice. And I would also be remiss to not mention the Delta Pokemon introduced towards the end of Generation 3, Pokemon that had completely different typings than usual, really making for some fun sets while we all patiently waited for the 4th generation to come around. However, for both EX and Delta species Pokemon, they would only last throughout the 3rd generation, as Generation 4 would bring us Level X Pokemon and Prime cards. However, Generation 5's next Destinies would have EX's return, although with a little bit of capitalization this time around. This denoted a difference, as these new Gen 5 EXs were all basic Pokemon, no longer requiring evolution for typically higher staged Pokemon. They also had huge HP gains, really setting the tone for the TCG even to this day. All other gimmicks prior to this did not give off the kind of power shift that these provided. I mean, cards like Landorus EX were mainstays in decks for as long as they were legal to use. And EXs would stick around all the way through the 6th generation as well, with those series of sets bringing back evolution for EXs with Megas. And let me tell you, those were even crazier in terms of strength and HP. Moving on, Gen 7 and 8 onwards would bring forth GXs and V cards to represent the in-game mechanics like Z-moves and Dynamax. Tag Team GX and VMAX cards jumped the power creep up significantly, now with us seeing cards being able to get into the 300s with barely any effort being put into them getting there, and now they give up 3 prize cards instead of 2. I mean, think about that. That is half of your prize cards for 1 knockout. That is just absolutely insane. And now here we are with Scarlet and Violet base set, bringing back the lowercase variation of EX cards, but now requiring evolution once again to get some of these ultra powerful Pokemon, while also dropping the prize taken back down to 2, slowing down the power creep just a tad, but it's still an appreciated move by some players. But this is not the only thing to return from the 3rd generation, no. See, Gen 9's new mechanic, Terrestrialization, introduced an actual mechanic in-game to change a Pokemon's typing to any one of the 18 types, and naturally that will eventually extend to the TCG. For right now, though, we just have Pokemon that have a Terra type that matches a typing they already have, like the Gyarados EX and the Arcanine EX. But there is not a single doubt in my mind that they will eventually extend that to giving Pokemon different typings. Something like a Darkness type Wigglytuff EX or a Lightning type Gengar EX. Really, the possibilities are truly endless. Now, these are exclusive to EX Pokemon for now, and I will say I do hope that we see some terrestrialized Pokemon that aren't EXs, but I do wonder if that would affect how special the ones that we're getting right now are. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one though. So, as you've heard me just talk about, there are pretty nice callbacks to the older generations while still keeping a lot of newer elements and strength intact. But something else still feels different, right? Well, keen observer, that's because a lot has changed. For starters, the price has increased by 50 cents from $3.99 a pack to $4.49. Now, the Pokemon Company said this was due to global inflation and the increased cost of materials. However, they're not just increasing the price with no extra added value. See, packs will now feature 3 guaranteed holofoil cards, 2 reverses with the possibility of one of those reverses being replaced by an illustration or special illustration rare, and all regular rares now being holographic cards. So definitely that is a big crease in the value if you ask me, especially if you're a collector that likes to have completed master sets with those reverses. But that's not all. If you've actually been watching instead of just listening to me, you'll have noticed that gone are the yellow borders that we've grown accustomed to over the years, and now we have gray borders that the Japanese audience have known for so long now. I personally don't really know how I feel, as I love the yellow borders, but do agree that keeping the cards more consistent across the different regions is nice, especially when it comes to the holo rares, as they look very spectacular with the holographic pattern being more visible on the gray borders. Other notable differences include the strength of the cards. The Japanese counterparts always felt a bit sturdier, almost kind of like a mix between cardboard and plastic compared to the English ones. The English cards always felt like opening them wrong would result in that infuriating white edging that could possibly tank a card's grading value. Well, I can definitely say that they feel a bit closer to the Japanese cards, and I haven't seen any white edges on the cards that I've opened, so that's another extra point of value added. However, even with all of these changes, some things have unfortunately stayed the same here. For instance, the pull rates. Sun and Moon, I feel, started the trend of having sets be extremely huge with little hope of being able to complete a set within a booster case, which is already such a large amount that the average collector might not be able to afford to invest in. Now, I feel like Scarlet and Violet is off to a great start so far, but with 60 illustration rares or better to collect, you'll need 9 boxes on average to even have a hope of completing this set. At least in my experience, as I got 20 out of the 60 from the 3 boxes that I've opened up here, unfortunately with no Miriam special illustration rares. And at the moment, in addition to the $300+ that these boxes cost, the other 40 cards would be in the $450 to $500 range. Now, of course, you could say, this is base set, future sets probably won't be that big. Well, as it stands right now, the next English set, Paldea Evolved, will contain the Japanese sets Snow Hazard, Clay Burst, and Triple Beat, which by my approximations should produce about 84 illustration rares or better. And if the pull rates stay the same as they are right now, you're looking at roughly 12 booster boxes to complete this next set. Now, a good amount of those could end up being pretty cheap to buy, but the point still stands. Gigantic sets without increased pull rates really need to go away. So, overall, what are my impressions of Scarlet and Violet base set? Well, I do think it's a step in the right direction overall for collectors, and generally it's a pretty fun set. But for the future, well, we're just gonna have to see about that. Really do need those pull rates to increase if they're gonna make these sets so unbelievably large. But what do you all think? Do you believe Scarlet and Violet is setting a positive precedence for the TCG, or are you not really the biggest fan? Definitely be sure to let us know down in the comments below. And with that said, I am Collector Dexter, and I will see you all next time.